Hey folks, it's Lindsey Huddleston with SPS back in the building over at the Horatio Williams Foundation Annual Coaches Forum. It's a great time at the MGM Grand downtown Detroit. But I have Coach Frank Martin here representing the University of Massachusetts, UMass, in the building, but also Final Four, Coach Frank Martin. Let's not forget that. But we really appreciated what you shared. But talk about what made you make the trek, in town, along with seeing that young man, Robert Davis Jr., that we all love so much. Shout out to his mom, Lakita, as well. But being at the Coaches Forum for Horatio Williams, what was that like for you today?
Oh, it was incredible when Rob's mom, Keita, called.
Did she threaten you?
No,
I love Keita.
She was going to me, but I was like, no, Keita, you kidding me? Detroit? Man, it's this is one of the people in this room, led by Horatio and everything. The people in this room, in this community, they fight for that ball, man.
Yeah,
that basketball's always been something. And as a guy that's not from Detroit, I've always had so much respect for the way that everyone hangs on to that ball to figure out a way to succeed in life.
Coach, let me stop you for a second, because as a proud native Detroiter, hearing you say that is a great statement. You say when you hear Detroit, you think about guys and girls are going to hold on, they're going to fight, and that's just it. Oh, well, I'm happy to hear that. What has your experience been with Horatio, hearing about him, learning about him, and being here tonight? What has that been?
Incredible leader. Some leaders get credit because they're out in the front and they're telling
back a little bit. Yep.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, so some leaders are viewed as being great because they're out in front and they're always telling everyone what they're doing. Horatio is one of those guys that leads from elevating others. And he's always celebrating everyone else's success and putting events like this together where you're celebrating people, man. And that's at the end of the day, man. We get wrapped up on wins and losses and all that too much, and what television says about people. It's who's celebrating the lives of others. That's what really matters, and that's what he's about, and that's what tonight was about.
Coach, I appreciate your humility. You talk about that. I caught you off camera about how amazed I was by what I would consider a viral moment for you when you said, as a coach, you don't go talk to your kids, coaches, when you can put your chest out and talk about your resume. And as a parent, my daughter's 10, and whether she'll hoop or whatever, that really resonated with me. Where did that come from? Why is that important for you? And talk about that. And I know your wife is not far away.
No, I'm going to give you the truth.
Okay.
We had played Saturday. My team in South Carolina. We had a game on Saturday. We played really bad. And Sunday, we go to church, and then he's got a game at the gym at the church. And so we're in there in the stands, and man, them dads, it's a 9 and under game, and dads were cutting up being a fool, man. We're at the church gym and just acting stupid and like. Then two good dads squared up to start fighting and just all like for no reason, man. And then they started the game again. All these kids are all crying, man. I'm dealing with all the kids where all the wannabe tough guys are acting like they're tough, and then they start the game again. And this dad came out of the stands, went after the referee. And I'm sitting there saying, what are we doing here? So Monday, I got my weekly press conference, and I didn't want to talk about my team. I was so mad about my team. And I put something on Twitter about that moment. And the first question in the press conference was about what I put on Twitter, what had happened at the church gym on Sunday. So I spent an hour talking about that. I didn't. Number one, it was real. It's what I saw, what I felt. I wasn't trying to make stuff up. But the good thing is, I didn't make a fool out of myself, because if I would have answered questions about my team at the press conference, I would have put myself in a tough spot because I was really frustrated. But
But you were still on topic with that.
But here's the problem I get. I would never. Your dad.
Yes.
I would never, ever call you and tell you how you need to be a better dad. But as dads, why are we calling the coaches that are volunteering their time?
But I just know better. Look at what I've accomplished. Don't you know who I am and what I've done? Come on, man.
It's to pick up the phone and call somebody that's giving their time or they're cutting up a fool, like a 9-year-old kid's dribbling the ball, and the coach who's volunteering his time is trying to get him to understand how to play.
Right.
The dad in the stands is yelling opposite instructions of what that coach is yelling. So that 9-year-old kid, who's he going to listen to? The dad. Because he's got to get in his car after the game.
They talk about the kids being held hostage on the ride home.
Man, and then we want to talk like kids have emotional moments.
Right.
Well, they got so much. Kids have so many voices in their heads these days.
Right.
The older ones because of social media.
Right.
And the ones that are 9 years old because we don't allow the coach to coach them, the teacher to teach them.
Right.
We want to control everything that's being told to the kid, and when it's not. And when someone else is giving instructions, and the other thing is you can't talk to the kid about his teammates. You can say, "Hey, Johnny, why you pass Johnny the ball? Johnny can't play." You can't do that. But that's the moment we're in right now, and that's what makes it really hard. And that's where my stance on kids get. Who's easy to blame? Right. The ones that know the least. Those are the kids. They've lived life a lot shorter. It's easy to blame them for their emotional outbursts when it's really us that's creating those problems.
Coach Martin, with everything you said, that sounds like that can be your exit speech for why you're going to lead a coaching game, but you're still here recruiting some of the best talent we have in the area. I mean, you're still in it despite these crazy dynamics.
Recruiting's getting really complicated these days. It's getting really hard. I've got a saying is that for me to sleep, I need to search for the truth, and trying to find people that share the truth these days is getting really, really hard, especially in the world of recruiting.
But also, can't the truth kind of get you in trouble in a stay in the box type world?
Yeah, but at least I can sleep at night because I live in the truth. You know, if I live in a lie, then I've got to keep lying, and then it's hard to sleep because your mind can't rest because you're always trying to figure out how to cover up the last lie you said. And so for me to live at peace, I've got to live in the truth. And sometimes the truth is hard to share. Right. But at the end of the day, I think everyone respects the truth. And, when you don't share the truth with people, sometimes they like you. But as time goes on, then the lack of sharing the truth omits that other person from a moment of success. And when I'm into someone's journey, I think it's my job to share the truth, even if they get mad at me at the moment. Because at least I know that as they move forward in life, they know I was telling them the truth. So they never, so they know what they're dealing with, so they can walk through any door that's ever opened for them in their life.
Well, speaking of sharing the truth and not arguing with someone, your wife, you acknowledged her from the stage. I saw an awesome interview on her a while ago. Can you just talk about your wife? Talk about her, what she means to you, and the importance of having a great partner on this road to success.
Again, let's go back to the word, the truth. I don't have to worry. She gave up her career. She made more money than me when I was an assistant coach at Northeastern University. She was a senior director of financial services at the university, and she gave up her career to help me chase mine. And so when she says something to me, I'm paying attention. And because she didn't marry me because of my career, she married me because of who I am, and I didn't have a career that the public knew about at the time, and so it's she's my rock, man. She tells me the truth. She keeps me grounded. There's times that she says something I don't agree with. I'm not going to argue with her, man. She gave up her career to help me chase my dream and chase mine, and so I wait for the moment to be right, and then we engage in a conversation. Yeah. But when she's going to share something with me, I need to pay attention. I need to give her my ears, my emotions, my passion, because I'm her assistant coach. Yeah. You know? I'm on the road recruiting other people's children, and she's in the house fighting for the values of our last name and fighting for the values we want our kids to live under. So I'm her assistant coach at home, and that's what it's all about.
I love that. Coach, final thing, talk about how great the University of Massachusetts basketball program is and why people should have their sights on what you got going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, you think back to the John Calipari days, and back in the day it was Julius Erving, and just for a long time, #1 in the country, Final Fours, Marcus Camby, Lou Rowe, Travieso, So you just the Dante Bright, just keep going. It's it was a time period there where UMass basketball was as good as it gets,
Right.
and unfortunately, it's kind of got drug into the mud, for lack of better words, and that happens sometimes. And after my time in South Carolina came to an end, I was ready to probably take a year off of coaching, and I was going to try and do some television and rethink the future.
You would have been great in television.
Well, I was intrigued by it. I had done it before, and I was intrigued by it. And the athletic director, Ryan Bamford, called me, and my wife is a UMass grad, and my wife was a record holder, a track athlete at UMass.
Wow. Okay.
So Ryan Bamford called me, and I agreed to meet with him. I had said no to some other schools. I've been chasing Kansas, Kentucky, those kind of schools for the last 18 years. I don't want to just coach at some school just to say I'm coaching.
Right.
I got an itch, man. You mentioned the Final Four. I got an itch to get back there.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to coach, I want to be somewhere where they want to get back there.
Right.
Well, the administration wants UMass basketball to be what it used to be again, and they're committed to it. So I said, you know what? I'm a blue collar, roll up your sleeves, let's go to work. And there's no guarantee that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow here, but you know what? We're going to fight like hell to get to the end of the rainbow and see what's out there for us. And we got to surround ourselves, which we have, with the right guys, and have each other's back, man, and be fearless of the moment.
Yeah. I also want to say that DWIHN Integrated Health Network has really been huge in supporting us from a mental health standpoint, giving us resources. Just a word on mental health and what that means to you right now.
I'm not going to put you in my age category. I'm not going to do that to you.
Just a couple years different.
But when we were younger, there was no social media. We only had certain voices in our heads. It was either whoever's in our house voice, our coach, maybe that one guy that ran the neighborhood, maybe his voice.
Oh, yeah.
But now, it's one of those. And that's the voice we always had in our head as we were trying to move forward. Now these kids, man, they got 10,000 followers. That's how many voices they got in their head. And the problem is that it's right now, that age group, it's more important to please those 10,000 than it is to please the 3 or 4 people that are fighting to create structure in your life. And that gets confusing. And as the adult, my job is not to pressure those kids to run away from all that noise they got. Is to understand the noise so I can help them manage it. And that's the journey I try to follow. But that's where the mental health, I believe, comes from, man. There's too much pressure. I was 17 years old once upon a time. If I had the pressure to have to succeed that adults are putting on 17-year-olds today's day and age, man, I'd crack.
Yeah.
I'd crack. I'd go do something crazy, and then people say that I was not in the right place. And but we got to be patient, man. We got to be more understanding and more patient. In communication. The day we don't speak with a young person, or even an adult, the day that we don't communicate with them, they're going to listen to someone else. Because there's so many voices, whether it's on television, the radio, or on social media.
Well, Coach, I know TV would have worked out for you, but you are best suited, and we are best suited having you in front of these young people, man.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, bro.
We'll talk to you later. This is Lindsey Ellis with SPS. See you next time. Peace.